Watson? Watson? I don't even know how to pronounce this. Watson? Well, regardless, we're going to be going over your sniper replay first off. I don't know who these supports are, but they're not giving you tangos, and I'd be complaining. You need your friend to give you tangos, but honestly, it is very, very important for you to actually get the sure tangos. And the two things you want to note to start the laning stage is that your first priorities, okay, so you're against the Pudge, so maybe you don't have to rush a Salve, but overall, in the majority, like 99.9% of mid matchups, you really want to buy a Salve right off the bat. It makes a difference, whether you're going for a kill or getting killed or getting ganked and left on low HP. Regardless, it's so important. So first off, I would have made your main priority to at least ship out a set of tangos. You need some sort of regen. You can't have none. It's just not something you can really go for. In this situation here, I'd be wanting to hit the Pudge as much as possible. First off, you didn't click on his items, actually. Actually, I don't think you did. Let me make sure. I don't want to falsely accuse you. But first thing you always want to do coming into the laning stage is click on their items. So I don't believe you did. Oh my god, don't tell me this rot is going to stay on. But first thing you want to do is click on him and see what items does this guy have. And you should note he has no stout shield, and Pudge is a 0 armor hero. And what this would make me say or do in the laning stage... Oh my god, he's actually going to rot endlessly. 1 second, let me see if I can get rid of this, because... Okay, I'm just going to turn off audio, because this is frustrating. Okay. I would click on him right away and say, okay, this guy has no stout shield, right? I'm just going to literally beat him to death. It's a 0 armor hero. He took rot, meaning he doesn't have flesh heap. So it's a 0 armor hero with 3 base regen, and that is it. Obviously, he has regen, but I'd be hitting him as much as possible. Also, another thing to note is you're at a severe base damage advantage. So the only way to leverage like yourself in this lane is to abuse the fact that he's a melee hero and punch him. First off, by getting either a better block or by making your first priority in the laning stage to get the wave back. That's what I would have done. First priority, get the wave back. And to do that, I'd use creep aggro, right? Right-click him, drag the creeps back. If you're not familiar, you'd have to approach you around here, right-click him, drag the creeps back to your range creep, and this would do two things. It sets up for either very good shrapnel, right? You don't have shrapnel, but let's say you did. It sets up for a very nice shrapnel where if the Pudge wanted to get to the range creep, right, because there'd be 2 melee creeps hitting the range creep, so if he wanted to get to it and you see him approaching, you can throw up a shrapnel here, and it would put in a lot of work. Not only that, even if you don't have shrapnel, you can just punch him, right, because he has to go for the range creep, but in melee range, where you could just right-click this one from very far away. So using creep aggro would allow you to secure the CS. Sorry, I don't want to be in free camera. Allow you to secure CS much more reliably. In addition, Pudge has like 20 damage on you, so you really have to be using creep aggro. Basically, a better player is going to severely punish this difference. Like here, right here, you have to drag this back. You have to. You have no choice but to drag this back. Otherwise, it's a very hard CS. Now, he's just not playing it properly, to be perfectly honest. Like, either you rely on headshot, or this guy's not last hitting properly. I'm not trying to insult you, but I'm pointing out where the lack of creep aggro is going to get punished at some point by certain players. So it's just a good habit to get down now. Okay, a little bit unlucky there. Once again, I'd be dragging the wave back or hitting him, right? Like, you're just playing this lane way too static for a lane that should not be CS based. It's just not. This is not a lane. Like, sniper in general is not a hero that you want to be solely focused on CS. It just doesn't work. Not at all. It doesn't work at all. So once again, you're getting denied. And this is not your fault that you're getting denied. But you can tell how much damage these right clicks are actually doing. That's 2 right clicks. That's like almost a tenth of his HP pool. So finally you're starting to hit him. This is good. Okay, so you take aim. I would really prefer you to take shrapnel. It got buffed a lot. So being able to throw it down, especially against melee heroes, will allow you to secure denies. Like these two right here, for instance. You could just throw it up on this range creep, and it would make it very awkward for Pudge to get them. But instead, he's able to get the CS. So Also, your positioning is a little bit dangerous. You're kind of setting up for a hook. Oh yeah, I guess there you have it. And also, what shrapnel does is it allows you to disengage from situations like this. So here you'll be fine. You should be fine at least. Okay, so it's going to actually work out for you. Okay. Also, remember to take aim when needed. Take aim is actually very important to use. It got buffed, so it's only 30 mana now. So basically, once you get take aim, you should be using it off cooldown. If you're not going to take shrapnel, like you should take shrapnel at level 2 to be perfectly honest. It's just such a good ability now. Like using it on waves allows you to get denies, get harass, and take aim at level 2 is just meh. I think it's just meh. It's not terrible, right? This build's okay. I'm alright with it. It's particularly good against this guy. He's also not buying a Stout Shield or going Flesh Heap, so you really should crush him with this. And also, the main problem we're going to note here is that you don't have any regen, right? As we talked about. You have to buy regen. You have to buy regen, or else situations like this come up, right? It's just... Now, your lead that you could have had from this kill is going to be nearly nullified purely from the fact that you didn't buy a salve. Like, that's how important it is. Good players are going to kill your hero, right? Now, I'm assuming the Spirit Breaker might charge you or something, noting that you're low HP. Or the Pudge can try to kill you. Luckily, the wave's under your tower. I hope you actually die. Exactly. Point proven. So, hopefully you understand why you have to buy a salve. Like, your first blood literally just went down the trash, and he's even on CS. You're both kind of low on CS, to be honest. But, hopefully that kind of proves a point where if you don't buy a salve or tango, you have the potential of just straight up losing your lead. You have this amazing start here where you get a first blood, right? We can look at net worth. This guy's 900 net worth. Not even close to you. 900. One kill, and he's way above you. Not way above you, I'm sorry. He's just above you. Not way above you. He's just above you. So, like, buying a salve would have cost you 100 gold, but it would have denied him 500 gold. So, now you have the salve, but obviously it's too late and you don't even need it anymore. I mean, still, I'd rather you have it. And basically, your problem in this lane is you're not able to play it aggressive enough for two reasons. You don't have shrapnel. So the thing about Pudge and against Sniper is, even if he ever hooks you, you can literally throw down a shrapnel, especially if it's level 2, and there's actually almost no way he can trade with you. But with this build, it's very hard for you to disengage. You don't harass very well. I would at least take headshot at level 3 so that you can trade better. It doubles. And I'd be using take aim a lot more. But your problem is you didn't right-click him enough. Like, a couple things to know. You didn't right-click him enough off the start. You didn't use creep aggro, and you positioned way too far to the side, right? When this Pudge is looking for hooks, you don't want to stand here. You want to stand towards the middle, right? I don't believe you had a mid-ward, but still, like, you don't want to put yourself in an opening against a hero like Pudge. See, these are going to be very hard CS to get. Nothing you really can do about that. It's just a matchup. Now you're gonna die again, right? And the interesting thing is, like, these plays are literally completely avoidable with shrapnel. Like, these dives, it probably wouldn't work out for them, because right here you see this guy coming, you instantly throw down a shrapnel right here, and they're slowed, and it's very hard for them to chase. In fact, the Pudge would probably be dead, right? 20% movement speed slow, 35 damage per second. But that's not kind of how it goes, so rough. Okay, so now you take shrapnel. Also, the thing about shrapnel is it allows you to farm. So, like, if you ever do fall behind for any reason, it allows you to catch up, and it allows you to fight properly, like in the early game. So, okay, this is good. I like that you're stacking, at the least. Okay. So I would definitely rewatch this, like, first 5 minutes, because this is what's going to be important for you, really, to improve your play drastically. I say this to almost every student I coach. Basically, your first 5 minutes is your most important, like, 5 of the game. It's by far the most important 5, because it can make or break your game. So on a hero like Sniper, in particular against Pudge, you could have been crushing this guy, no doubt, if you bought a salve and did a few of the things I mentioned that hopefully you just go back and rewatch them. It will change your lane, like, drastically. And at first, trying to incorporate everything I say might be a little bit disorienting. In fact, it might even get you killed if you're too focused on all the little things. But if you really do slowly try to incorporate everything I said, then you'll notice improvements. So here, I would look to maybe shove out the wave. Okay. At least you have shrapnel now, so this is a lot harder for them. As you can see, right? Gets you a double kill, basically. And that could have been the case with, like, the last one. Right, you see them coming. Alright, it's not showing the shrapnel, but it's just such a good ability for, like, defending yourself, especially against these dive comps. Like, you just can't go take aim against dive comps. You have to go shrapnel. But I'm glad you kind of realized that, because you started leveling it. Probably could have gotten that kill on that guy if you used take aim. Try to consider that take aim's inactive now. TP in here. Never mind, you couldn't have gotten that kill. Maybe with shrapnel, but regardless. Also, you really have to avoid this where you just, like, chuck out the shrapnels for no reason. I don't know why you used it here. Oh, I guess it was maybe to try to kill the Spirit Breaker. But really, be very careful with your shrapnel usage. Use it to push out waves in the early game, right? Because it's only a 40-second cooldown, which is nice now. So you can actually use it to just farm. So use it to push out waves and pressure people in the early game. Use it to farm stacks and to try to get kills. But, like, in situations like this where it's a low likelihood that you're going to get the kill, you really need to save it so that you can farm, so that you can pressure the next wave, push in the next wave. Because what else does pushing in the next wave do? It also keeps you very safe, right? If you push in the mid wave and then go farm the jungle, it's a lot safer to be in the jungle against a hero like Pudge and Spirit Breaker, where they're going to play off seeing you, right? Obviously against Night Stalker, that's not necessarily the case. Then under the tower is probably a little bit safer, but for the most part, not going to be the case. Okay, so here you're going to start taking the stack. Make sure you're on Agi. Yeah. Only one thing I would potentially change. Actually, for the triple stack, you just want to use a normal shrapnel, but if you're ever just farming these camps, we'll talk about efficiency in a bit, but if you're ever farming those camps normally, there's an efficiency trick to use. So here, I'd be pushing this in. I would just be auto-attacking. Like, no reason to static. I don't want to be mid right now. Like, you can get dove very easily. Basically, if, like, Spirit Breaker charges you from behind, you can die. Like, straight up. Okay, so here I would shrapnel this wave for sure. It's a cart wave, so I want to push it out as fast as possible, because if you leave this alone, okay, good. I wouldn't necessarily leave it. You really need to try to get the XP. You can even pressure this Pudge with take aim, but don't leave waves like that. Like, if you're going to shrapnel the wave, try to play the wave and get the XP. Instead, you open it up for him to get denies, and you lose 100% of the XP. And XP on a sniper is so good, because you really want to try to get to your level 10 talent, regardless of which one you're going to take. Okay, so you could be a lot higher of a level now. After this, after we finish going over the landing stage for you, we're just going to briefly go over the landing stage for a sniper game I played. You might have watched it already, but I'm just going to go into depth. Actually, I think that I don't believe I went into depth, but before we move on, because this is just so important, like I say this so much in so many videos where the landing stage is just so important. I think it was a while ago I played this sniper game. I put it up on my YouTube, on the Game Loop YouTube, so you might have seen it already, but I don't even know if this was the game. Hopefully it is. Yeah, it is. Okay. And let's just kind of look at the difference. So at minute 12, I believe you were level 9, and I just want to show the comparison to what you could be, simply by changing up a few decisions. Obviously, you got dove in your game. I actually got dove in this game as well, so it's quite parallel in some senses. Okay, so sniper, right? Same item build. I like your item build a lot. Just you really need to get straight tangos. Like, you have to ask for your supports, especially if you're partying. And if you're not, you really need to make the first thing you ship out tangos and a salve, like, without exception. Okay, so first off, I level shrapnel right away, and in order to zone a melee hero, I'm going to shrapnel and then just auto attack him. And this would really have crushed the Pudge, because Pudge is a 0 armor hero, right? Bristleback, it has at least 2 armor and a stout shield. That Pudge you were against had 0 armor and no stout shield. So you'd be hitting him for a lot more than I'm hitting this Bristleback. Like, Pudge would be like half HP, where this Bristleback... Also, what this Bristleback did was he ate a Tango, so he's even regenning. Obviously, I get a little bit of help from the Surf Spear, but once again, I'm using my Shrapnel somewhat freely. I actually don't like this Shrapnel that much. I would have preferred to maybe save it and hold back a little bit, but yeah, I don't know what my Earthspit's doing. He's being a little bit crazy. But once again, just using Shrapnel, like I pull the creeps back. Wait, let me just make sure. I'm sorry, I skipped over a potentially very important point. I think it might have partially just been because I had a better block than him, which is important on Sniper. Like, try to get the... Okay, it was. So I get a really good block, and this is why it's important to get a good block, because then you can really make your Shrapnels better. Alright, but yeah. So having a good block really amplifies the ability of your Shrapnel's effectiveness. So here I want to wait a little bit, maybe until I got level 2 Shrapnel, to start casting it again. Yeah, I think that was my idea. Actually, okay, yeah. And then immediately I'm stacking here. So I got Mud Golems, which is really unlucky. And I don't think you have to stack that early. I think it actually cost me some denies. Yeah, it did. But, and maybe miss CS. But once again, I'm just using Shrapnel. Like, it's a 40-second cooldown, and at level 3, you just instantly push out waves. And it makes it very awkward for the enemy mid laner to play, because the wave's always going to be under their tower, and as a result, in a hard lane, you can do this, push it out, and then chill a bit, right? If I don't know where Spirit Breaker is, I can just chill. In this game, there's a Nature's Prophet who could gank me, and that's who I'm afraid of. Alright, as you note, I buy the salve. I don't believe I bought it right away in this lane. You probably... But I had sure tangos, and I also got a stick. So, in my opinion, this was enough in this lane. That was my judgment call, right? I had the shared tangos, and I got a stick. And eventually, I bought the salve anyway, though, right? A little bit later on. I don't remember exactly when I bought it, to be honest, but because I'm against Bristle, I have like a pseudo form of regen through my stick. So at this point, the lane is just going to get pushed out, but you notice how high my CS is, and this is strictly because I'm able to really maximize and guarantee CS through the use of Shrapnel. Like, it's as simple as this. I'm Shrapneling waves. Alright, it gets glyphed, obviously, but... So I even Shrapnel again. I don't like that Shrapnel, right? You kind of want to save it. It's no need to just waste it on nearly dead creeps, but not that it was terrible. So here, now the Bristleback's backing up. And there's no... I can't stack, so I'm not going to use Shrapnel, right? There's no need for me to push it out here. I'm not that afraid of dying. The Bristleback was low HP. But here, I want to get ready to stack, and it's also a cart wave, so I have to be afraid as I die, right? But, I could have thrown up a Shrapnel there. I think I felt like I was dead anyway, but still could have been useful. It's a good defensive item. This game, I go this terrible Veil item. Definitely don't do this. Your item build is fine, for sure. It's just, I just want to talk more about play. But once again, it's just a very simple pattern, right? I'm Shrapneling the wave, guaranteeing that I get all the CS, and now I have 41 CS at 6 minutes. And this is kind of how you can, like, basically snowball a sniper. Also, this is the trick you can use to kind of just maximize your Shrapnel efficiency. I obviously have mud golems here, so I don't even really care about Shrapneling them. So if you ever get Mud Golems, don't just directly Shrapnel them. Obviously, if it's in a stack, then whatever. But once again, I get Mud Golems. But hopefully you kind of get the point where you can drag the wave over there, use the Shrapnel in between the two, especially if you have Mud Golems. This is a nice way to use Shrapnel. I kind of get denied there, sad. But now at this point, I can just bounce in between the camps. Once again, Shrapnel trick. And then use the majority of the Shrapnel to kill off the large camp and just auto-attack the Mud Golems down. And now that the lane is pushing in, I show up and secure the rest of the CS. So I push a lane in, and then I'm off to the jungle. Typically, this is the pattern, right? Push a lane in, off to the jungle. And I even made a stack in between, but you notice every time that I come back, the creeps are like kind of low because I pushed a lane in, right? This is what happens. And now I'm here. As a result, I get a double wave on my high ground. and back into the jungle, farming my stack. There, I wish I kind of pulled the wave over first. That would have been a lot more efficient. But once again, looking to make stacks. There, I maybe could have used take aim to get the stack. Probably not, but you're making my first priority to push out the wave. I actually don't love that shrapnel. I could have just scared him off with right clicks, but it's alright. Once again, now I get my Midas. So I actually really like the Midas, but you'll see at 10 minutes, I'm level like 10.5, simply because I'm just like snowballing super hard. And if I went better items, like if I went like treads, or instead of this crown I rushed a Midas, I would have even a little bit more farm. Once again, making use of the stacks. Here, I wish I pulled it over earlier again. That's a slight inefficiency by me. But hopefully this helps you. Like just these basic patterns of you push lane in mid with shrapnel, and then you look to make stacks in the jungle and use that farming trick, and you're going to notice really how fast you can actually farm. So definitely try this out. I highly recommend maxing shrapnel now. It has been buffed to a 40-second cooldown. That is insane. Super, super good. Once again, last example, shrapnel trick just makes farming so simple as I feed. Sad. But you'll just see how farmed I am this game. I just died, and yet I'm still basically top of the net worth. I'm sure before that death I was probably top. Maybe. No. Yes. Yeah. Before that death I was top of net worth. But then he got some track gold, and I fed. But yeah, hopefully this helps. Let's go back to your replay now and probably look at some positioning. But that is just kind of like the way you can maximize your efficiency, because this hero farms so fast. So fast. And I just want to stress that there. Which game? This one. Okay. Okay, let's get back to around 11 minutes. Yeah, okay. But you can see the difference, right? Purely in CS and level, at like 10:30, I was 10.5, and that's strictly because of these farming efficiencies, which you could easily put into your game. So I'm actually very excited to maybe hear feedback like Panda can give if you just try out these tricks and put them in your game. I think it could really help you. Amplify farm. Nice hook out there. So here you're kind of just using all your shrapnels to fight, and it's not necessarily terrible to do this if you can pick up kills, but the problem is that you can't really farm. So you kind of have to treat it as it's like metamorphosis on TB basically, where you have to judge like, is it worth it here to fight, or do I want to save it so that I can take ancient camps? Here you're kind of using the shrapnel a little bit inefficient. It's not terrible, but I'd rather kind of take some damage to keep them in the shrapnel for as long as possible rather than running them all the way out. It's not that bad, but it's alright. Oh, this is dangerous. Yeah, I don't really like this TP. Okay, a couple of reasons why this TP is unnecessary. First off, because you can die. Obviously, that's a little bit of hindsight, but regardless, why do I not like this TP that much? You have no shrapnels, first off. So whenever you don't have shrapnel, your hero is super weak in the early game. You're just a weak early game hero without shrapnel. With shrapnel, you're a very strong early game hero. In fact, you probably could have taken this fight, potentially, if you could have thrown up a shrapnel. Maybe not. You still got hooked and died. But still, the point stands. Shrapnel would really help you fight. So because you have no shrapnel, you should not be TPing in. It's just pointless. Not only that, even if I did have shrapnel, I probably wouldn't have TP'd. First off, it's not necessarily bad. If you had shrapnel, you probably could have turned. And in that case, it would have been alright. But the thing is here, you TP top. But instead, what you could have done is forced in mid tower. It's somewhat low. If you shoved in mid wave a lot more with shrapnels, like if you made that your priority to shove in mid wave, it'd probably be even lower, simply due to creep damage, and then you could have just finished it off there, or you could have just made stacks. But TPing to ganks is like meh on a sniper. It's very unreliable, as you can die in the early game. So if you're gonna do it, make sure you at least have backup or shrapnel. One of the two. It can't just be like a blind TP basically, like hoping for the best. It has to be a lot more calculated around your skills and your other heroes. Why is it showing me melee creep? Okay. So here, I'm going to look to make stacks. So you're not looking to make any stacks. Really got to look to try to make stacks here and there. It's so important for sniper now with shrapnel, just to really maximize your efficiency. Here I'd push out. I would have pushed out this mid wave with shrapnel. I would have just shrapneled it real quick. Once again, like when you have 3 charges, just make sure your main priority is to focus on pushing out the wave with shrapnel. 1 second, I just have to message someone. Okay, sorry. But yeah. Okay. Let's see what you do next, because you're not necessarily super behind now, but you have a lot of deaths purely because you got ganked and you responded improperly. You need to just make your game a lot simpler, right? Try to get down this like pattern basically. Your game can be very simple, and I've noticed this with a lot of ancient players, or ancient and below players, I mean, that I've coached. And basically it's that they go into the game and they have no clue what they're doing. They just like running around, and they know that they have to farm, they know that they have to fight, and then they kind of just do a mix. And here you run into a gank basically because you're always looking to respond to stuff and just running around kind of cluelessly almost, per se. I'm not trying to say that you have no idea what you're doing, but it's just kind of without merit. Then you end up dying and just get caught in things. The thing about Sniper is you need to be very planned. It's a hero that struggles without a plan, or can get picked off, I should say. Right? Sometimes it will work out where you just come in and clean up fights. That often is probably what happens for you. But in this game in particular, you could have just farmed and carried your game with 2 or 3 items. Because in this game in particular, previous to items, you're just going to get dove. You're going to get dove. And these are hard Sniper games if they catch you out and spend time farming. But if we look at their map, I don't even know if they have your jungle warded. They don't. So you'd be pretty safe in here, just making stacks, unless they actually invaded. And typically players don't invade that early, especially not in this bracket, to be perfectly honest, from what I've observed. But as a result of you just looking to constantly rotate, you get caught out in the middle of things. And previous to like some Shadow Blade or Force Staff or Blink Dagger, whatever defensive item, you can't really fight. So you have to be farming, right? You just have to put your priority shrapnel mid wave, and then stack camps in the jungle, right? All you have to do is farm mid wave, push in mid wave with shrapnel, and then stack camps in the jungle, use the shrapnel trick, and then maybe when you have 2 items or so, look to TP into like larger team fights. But responding to basic pickoffs and stuff is very dangerous for Sniper, because in particular here, this one, what many players will do, especially higher MMR players, is that they'll send 4 or 5 heroes to actually take this tower, and as a result, you TPing in here to save a PA when you only see 2 heroes is even more risky, because they could have 4 or 5, unless you store them on the map. I don't remember in particular, but the thing is, it's very risky and not worth your time, right? Even if you TP in and save her, then you have 2 cores, your 2 farming cores in the same lane, and not only that, in the dead lane, like in that game in particular, right, 2 ganking heroes are up there as is, so you don't want to be there. First off, I'd rather the PA be bottom and the Sniper be mid. So having both of them in the top lane is just a complete disaster. So here, this looks like a good fight. Really good shrapnel placement. Nice chrono. Oh, unlucky on the deny. But so you guys can't push here. So yeah, okay, I like this TP. It's okay. I kind of would have rather you just like push in mid. I mean, go back and jungle here and let your PA farm over here. But this is alright. The only problem with this is now they know you don't have any TP, or they should if they saw you. Okay, and now yeah, you have to be very afraid of this Night Stalker. It's pretty dangerous for you to take this cam, because sometimes people will ward this very commonly, especially around like the 15-minute mark, the enemy safe lane jungle. So you could get charged, but you do see the Night Stalker, so it's not too bad. I wouldn't want to really be playing top here. It's very easy for them to, like, as I just said, it's easy for them to ward it, so staying around here for too long is very dangerous. Luckily, they're showing in like 3 different lanes, which is just kind of a lower MMR mistake, but definitely an early shrapnel there. Might have been able to get this kill with the better shrapnel. Yeah, so never really like pre-fire shrapnels in fights. It's just one of those abilities where it's not like Hook, where if you hit them with it for a second, it's worth it. Shrapnel is more of like it's like you close off gaps, or you use it strictly for DPS based on stuns. So like throwing it out here in the hopes that you hit him won't change anything. It's not going to get you the kill. Like, right, if this guy's strictly running away, then Shrapnel's not going to catch him. In fact, I have no idea how he actually runs this far. But here, if you were able to throw up a Shrapnel on top of the line stun, probably would have gotten the kill. At least it would have been a lot closer. I don't know for sure, but would have been a lot closer. Oh boy. Oh, okay, you got saved there. Gotta be seeing take aim a little bit more. It's quite useful. Like, you should have hit that punch once more with the take aim and then maybe charge your ultimate. Just try to use this in team fights. Like, it's good when you're approaching. It's really good for a few things. It's good for canceling blink daggers. It's good for approaching fights and finishing off kills. So definitely keep it in mind. It's also, I think I mentioned it earlier on, but it's really good for the laning stage. Like, just to harass people. It's only 30 mana now. I think it got buffed, I believe. Let me check. Oh no, it's just a cooldown. Okay, so, but the cooldown got buffed. So only 30 mana, not a big commitment. Once again, this is why, like, how you're playing these fights just kind of lets you get ganked, basically. The thing about Sniper is, I know you guys kind of have vision of everyone, but basically by running up to a jug from the side, like if we just kind of look at the map, Sniper is a little bit different from many heroes where his positioning has to be behind basically at all times. So if my team is ever like this, I want to be here. So I would have approached this jug kill from the back, because you just don't know if they're coming or not, and it turns out they are. And now he just kind of hooks you for free and you die. So you have to be a lot more careful with your positioning. Basically, you should have been coming from the back, because the thing about Sniper, like a hero like Ember doing that gank or Monkey King, it doesn't really matter where you come from, because you're going to go on top of them and you have disengage. But for Sniper, you always have to approach from like the back end. So if your team is ever ganking someone here, you always want to come from the back. You just can't ever position like on the side, because you're just always the number one target. Oh boy, what a mess. I'm not on player perspective. Whoops. That's close. That was better though. You approach from the back, so there's like a less likelihood that you're gonna get ganked. Here, you're probably okay. It's better if you pike people, like when you're disengaging, and you have Hurricane Pike. Make sure you're using it on the Night Stalker rather than just like forward. It will create a much larger gap. For instance, like if Pudge ganks you, like here, you need to click it on him, and it will make a significantly bigger gap. I don't know if he kills you or not. I'm gonna say he doesn't, but still. It's just a kind of a good thing to have in mind. Once again, you're wasting shrapnels. Keep in mind that this is your ability to farm. Like even in the mid game, right? You want to be using it to shove lanes. So just chucking out random shrapnels for no reason, or no like seemingly like low reason or low likelihood that it's actually going to do anything to the Night Stalker is bad. In fact, if the fight keeps on going on, you really want to have them to like follow up a line stun or a PA dagger or something like that, or like protect someone who's getting gone on. But using it just to skim a Night Stalker isn't really worth it. And here I would be looking to shrapnel some wave. And are the Ancients alive? Because you probably should have taken those. No, they're dead. Okay, so it is a little bit awkward for you here. You don't really know what to farm. I don't blame you. You do have 3 farming cores here, so it's a little bit awkward. But going Lincolns, not a fan here. The thing is about Lincolns, they get on top of you. You're going to probably die regardless. I'd rather have a BKB so I can actually man up, right? Because if you BKB against these heroes, they can't really do that much to you. Where with Lincolns, then if they get on top of you and you burn your Force Staff, then that's all you got, basically. Oh, that was kind of unlucky. This is very dangerous. Okay. I guess you saw the Spear Breaker, but still. I don't know if you have to be very careful about walking up hills like that. I guess it works out, but still. People often will camp hills when they have the advantage, so always be a little bit wary about that. Do they have dust? Okay, so they're actually not carrying dust. I mean, I'm sure they would carry it if you bought a Shadow Blade, but I often think Shadow Blade is just like a super good sniper item. Against these heroes, it's not amazing because you're going to get charged anyway. So it's kind of meh, but in a lot of games, I'd recommend that item. It's like really good for DPS and disengaging. So it looks like you're still like top, basically. But imagine like you're top here with like all of the mistakes you made, no offense, and like the lack of farming efficiency. But you could be easily like level 25 right now if you just like kind of mix up how you use shrapnel. This looks bad. See, this is the thing about Lincolns. I mean, this fight's over no matter what item you have, but if you have a BKB, at the least, you won't take all this damage, and maybe you could live for a little bit longer. It wouldn't change anything in this game, but it's just a good precedent. I would never really buy Lincolns over BKB on Sniper, just because kind of how the hero functions. For a hero like Ember Spirit, you might, because for them, getting BKB... Actually, no. Most Embers buy BKB nowadays over Lincolns. But occasionally, for them, getting caught is like terrible because they are less likely to buy another disengage item. For you, you already have a pike. And also, they can get bursted by other heroes. Like, typically, they die to other physical damage sources. Otherwise, they won't buy disengage at all. But for Sniper, you already have disengage, and you just want to be able to actually man up when magical damage heroes go on you. And it looks like this game's over, so we'll wrap it up here. Even something like an MKB could have been okay, because you kind of just have to be the damage dealer for your team here, because your PA is kind of underfarmed, and even your Void is underfarmed, so. Basically, in order for you to carry this game, you have to use your shrapnel a lot more efficiently. You have to position a lot more defensively in fights. Don't react to TPs, right? Just focus on getting your farm up and snowballing, like once you have 1 or 2 items. Like taking a fight. And really try to reach your peak of 3 or 4 items. That's when Sniper becomes like super strong. Typically like the 4th item where he gets like his 2nd DPS in addition with Maelstrom, whether it's Daedalus, MKB, Mjolnir, whatever it is. So really try to get to that point rather than taking all these fights that you are. Definitely what I would recommend for you is you need to go back, focus on the laning stage. Like for you, nothing else should matter right now. Like all this mid-game stuff and the positioning and Hurricane Pike usage and shrapnel usage, it's important to note, but what's more important is easily how you approach the laning stage and how you approach like snowballing your farm. And hopefully the tips I gave you will really radically change your game. So hopefully this helped. As always, if you have any questions in particular, let them know. Let Panda know. And hopefully you can ask them to me, and I'll get back to you that way. Or just add me on Discord if you do have it. I'll be happy to answer any questions from a friend of Panda or from Panda himself. So hopefully this helped. I've said that like 3 times now. But yeah, I definitely mean it. See you.